Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Art Side of Life, where it's all about how you can turn your creative passion into a profession. My name is Eva, and my guest today is a self taught visual artist originally from Peru, now living and working in Chile. Most of his art pieces he showcases online have a glowy and supernatural feel and can be categorized as a contemporary art. He always tries to combine this natural and fantastic feel with unique elements in his art. You can just imagine all of his fantasy characters living in a color space setting with all the imaginary details he puts into his creations. So please welcome Chris Orillo, better known as Krizpii, and let's just go to the interview. When did you first time decided you wanted to be an artist or a designer?
Well, I think I always knew I wanted to be an artist. I mean, I remember my first drawing when I was about 5 years, and I really enjoyed that. I mean, my mom really loves art. She's so talented, but she decided to be just the mom, and she didn't like decided to study art or something like that. But she was so inspiring for me, and I remember that she drew like many things for me and my brother, and I was a big fan of the Little Mermaid and I'm still a big fan of Little Mermaid. And she used to draw me Ariel many times, a big bunch of pages full of Ariel, and I used to paint them. And then I decided to draw her. Like I can do it. She can do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
And I drew a little Ariel when I was 5, and that moment was so important to me because I felt that was, and I can remember that wasn't the first drawing I did. So then, well, the time is passing, and I was drawing like all the time. My mom still has some of my old drawings, and they were still pretty. Like, oh wow, I really like that. I don't understand anything. Like, I guess it's some fishes and weird shape, but everything was related to the sea. Everything was like so what I try to do right now. But anyway, I always like felt this connection with art, and that was like part of me. That I always like felt that was the best thing I can do, and everything around me told me that. So that was like an entire little bubble living these experiences and making it like big, and making it evolve.
Yeah, that's super cool because it's really important to have people around you, like to encourage your art and just you can get the inspiration from. So it's really nice. Did you have also other mentors or someone who inspired you when you were growing up or when you started your career?
Well, besides my mom, probably my grandpa, who was so in contact with painting, the painting scene, and well, the art in general in Peru. He loved to buy paintings from many Peruvian painters. Like he was so supportive with them, and I didn't really feel that connection with traditional painting. Like I don't get it. Like he used to take me to so many art exhibits, and we had a really nice connection. So we used to talk about art, but when I went at those art exhibits, I didn't really feel that was like, well, okay, those paintings aren't that interesting. But now I can feel that was amazing. Like he was trying to try to make me part of it, and try to give me the contact, that face to face with the paintings.
Yeah.
But now I understand that.
Yeah, because maybe it was kind of in the back of your mind, when you were a kid, you were like, oh yeah, it's there. But when you started creating, it maybe kind of coming back.
Yeah. But that's what I think. I admired a lot, probably Walt Disney. Like he was also one of my mentors. he is amazing. I have no words to describe his
Yeah.
work, but he, of course, was and still is one of my mentors. The way he creates um, an entire world
Mm.
that people still believes in. He could teleport it from paper or in screen on a screen to the real world.
Yeah.
So that's what I find really, really incredible. Like that's true magic for me.
Yeah, yeah. Because do you also think about creative worlds, or like stories when you create your illustrations?
I think it's more like a world, like a parallel world
Mm-hmm.
where all those characters are living. But I try to do like comics and like create characters and tell stories through them, but that doesn't really work on me. That's why I decided that the entire piece of art tells you a story without dialogues or without like a voice
Mm-hmm.
or without pages full of characters talking with each other and having
Yeah.
like
Like description there, or yeah, so
yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do, like teleport the viewers to my inner universe that I'm still exploring, and they are being part of it. So like we are going together with it because it's just starting. I think, as you said, there aren't a lot too much paintings on my Instagram or any gallery that I have online, and they still have a big power to make people feel what I am feeling. So
yeah.
I really like.
Because I mean, your use of colors and the combination is amazing. They kind of feel like they're glowing, and it's so colorful and yet not too busy. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
I really like it. So what I wanted to ask you as well, which were the turning points or like the biggest decisions in order to take your career professionally? Because of course you moved as well. That's maybe one of the things. But was there something else?
Well, first, my life was like a roller coaster a little bit, because when I uh, decided to study something, I decided really bad because there was a career there in Peru called administration and business, like international business.
Mm-hmm.
So that sounded really good for my family, and everybody was so excited about it. So I thought, well, I'm not a bad student. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to study that.
Yeah.
My family didn't like the idea of studying something related to art because they thought that it wasn't going to be something like I wasn't about to. I wasn't. I did. I don't know how to say it, but they thought that wasn't
The
going to
best.
work.
Yeah. I had the same.
That wasn't. Yeah. That wasn't the best for me. Even if they knew that I I was able to do art and I truly believed in my talent, but they were like, please just why don't you study this? It's so cool and that career is so fancy and everybody's going to like, well, let's do it. So I studied that career like for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then I like literally opened my notebook and it was full of drawings.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take notes, like it was full of drawings, and people like every time was telling me, why are you studying this? Like you are not enjoying it, like
Yeah.
you have something else to do. So I was thinking, okay, my family don't want an artistic career
Mm-hmm.
for me, and that pressure was a little bit complex, but then were another career that was so creative and that helped me a lot, that was called mass media.
Mm-hmm.
Then there you have like a mix of things like photography, video, graphic design, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that mix was so interesting for me. that wasn't exactly something like so artistic, but was creative. And I thought, well, that's better than the other options. So then I decided to change my career.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big thing because I learned another side of what I would like to do in the future as an artist. Like I learned how to promote myself,
Mm-hmm.
like how to sell my things on the media.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And well, the other thing was when I moved to Chile, because I was on vacations, like I was visiting an ex-boyfriend here,
Yeah.
and I didn't expect it to get a job here.
Yeah.
So one of his family members told me, "Oh, well, I work at an editorial. They make a lot of content for kids, especially educational content for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you go there, show your work, and they probably have something for you.
And
Like, why don't you try
and
it?"
this was still during the holiday when you were there.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
holiday. So I told her, but I have nothing I have nothing to show. Like, if you can lend me a laptop or something to show what I do on screen,
Mm-hmm.
could be perfect. And so that's what I did. I'm I picked some of my old artworks, like whatever I had,
Mm-hmm.
and I showed the team from the editorial, and they really liked it. So they told me, well, we have this project and that project.
Yeah.
So when do you want to start?
Ah,
That
that's
was
so cool.
was so cool, but at the same time, it was a so fast decision. So
Mm-hmm.
it was take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it's something new. This city is so like big, and it's going to be a nice experience for me. So
Yeah.
I said yes.
That's really cool. Yeah. And how then? So you were still in Chile. Then they told you like, okay, we like your style, and you would fit into this environment. And then you flew back. Then you packed your things and went back to Chile, or how did that work?
Well, I stayed. I'm still here, like since then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So how
Like
did you get? Yeah.
I called my family, and I told them, well, I have a new job here because I had a job in Peru,
Mm-hmm.
but that was like a freelance work. So my boss was so cool, and he really understood what I decided. So I called him also, but when I called my mom, I said, "Mom, I have a job. I got a job here, so I like the city. Goodbye."
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so crazy. And then I called my boss and I told him, "Well, I got a new job here. I'm sorry, but I can't go to the studio again. Like, I'm sorry, but it was a take it or leave it." And I finished like a game with the old team from Peru. So everything was fine. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were thinking of new projects, and that's when I was here in Chile. So there wasn't
Yeah.
problems.
So when you borrowed the computer where you found some of your artworks which you maybe had online or something, did you put it in a
Yeah,
portfolio or you just showed them online on your
I
website?
showed them no, I put them on a portfolio. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I made like two folders. One was like something more closer than they were looking for, because they didn't like my anime style. Like, that's so like, oh, I don't like Chinese
Yeah.
cartoons. So okay, let's check out the other files, and they liked it. So at that time, I was experimenting with many styles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could anime style or cartoon. Like, I was experimenting a lot, and that's probably one of the things that they liked, because of my flexibility
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
working many different working on many different styles. So
Yeah, so you can
yeah,
adjust to their style, which is yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
That was what they liked.
yeah, that's really good. And so, if we are talking about the visual and kind of the branding, what is the message or the visual language you are always communicating through your work? How would you describe your brand?
Well, my brand, like, well, this Krizpii thing, because I think like there is a brand that is involving what I do, which is called Krizpii. But when I created it, it was like a pen name or a nickname that I used to post things on DeviantArt.
Yeah.
But now many people knows me through Krizpii.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot just say, bye, I'm Christian Orrillo, and I don't know about Krizpii because people likes that name. I don't know. Anyway, so I decided to use that name as my own brand and make it a package where art coexists together. Like, now I'm showing illustrations, but I want it to be like a mix of things that my art can be. Like, I want to work on some fashion projects, photography as well, and I want it to be combined with some music. Like, I don't know how to do music, but I am trying to also give my followers and my fans like an entire package where they can enjoy this universe.
Yeah.
So besides that, I try to create high quality art, and everything I'm posting on the media, I previously have thought the time when I'm going to post them, and everything is like so detailed. So that's important to me. Also, I want to teleport my public to a parallel universe, as I said, that includes some futuristic and unique elements. So I'm always trying to show something different in a world that's probably my own world. So that's what I'm trying to do: blend some natural elements, like natural visual elements, with futuristic elements. I don't want it to look too futuristic or robotic, and I don't want it to look like too natural and full of, I don't know, flowers probably. I want to blend two worlds, like make it a balance. And I want to create that sensitive experience. That's why I'm creating playlists with musics that are related to a concept from an artwork. Like I have two playlists online. One of them is called Cosmic Perspective, and the other one is Hello New World. They are both playlists related to all of my artworks. So every playlist has music that inspired me through the process of creating it. That sounds like, for me, that sounds like my piece of art, you know? So there's kind of synesthesia thing that I want to show through my brand. I don't want it just to be me doing art. I want it to invite people to enjoy it, and it's an entire experience that I'm still creating.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because definitely I think it's really great idea to listen to music which relates to your art piece. Because I also heard that some of the artists, when they are creating maybe angry character, they listen to this like really angry music, you know, so you get the expression right. And then you create these nice and flowy shapes, which has this, I don't know, like really relaxed and inspirational feel. So yeah, so that's really cool with the music playlists. And so what I wanted to ask you as well was about the inspiration, because you said you are inspired by the music. And is there like other inspiration you use, or maybe what is the weirdest thing you are inspired by?
Well, the weirdest thing that I got inspired by, that's a curious question. I've been thinking about it like a lot. Like, what's the weirdest thing that inspired by? And I remember something very weird. When I was a child, I was so scared by aliens and that stuff, like UFOs
Yeah.
and abductions. Like, oh my God, I couldn't even think of that. Like, that was my biggest, like, I don't know, my biggest nightmare
Mm-hmm.
was to be inside a UFO with all those little aliens. Like, but now I think like I'm so curious about that world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to create some kind of alien vibe on my characters.
Yeah.
So probably inspired me, and I tried to make it a bad memory, and make it a good thing, like make it inspire me in a good way. So that could be the weirdest thing that inspires me.
Yeah.
And what other things that aren't that weird? Well, I really like to check out artworks from many artists
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram, wherever they are. I like to go to many art exhibits here in Santiago.
Mm-hmm.
I love bookstores. I love the art section. Like, I'm always like spending a long time
Yeah.
like uh, looking up the pages and finding new art, and the way that the books are made and stuff like that. I also love photography.
Mm-hmm.
I love like portraits and fashion photography. I live with a friend who studies fashion design,
Mm-hmm.
so that world so interesting to me, and that's so inspiring to me. Like photography, fashion, and art from another kind of artist, like sculpture as well.
Yeah.
I found very cool artists that can, like, what I'm trying to find on that kind of that inspiration, like elements,
Yeah.
are that vibe that I want to transmit through my work, that alien, futuristic, and natural, and also like watery, and many elements that I have found on other artists.
Mm-hmm.
And that's amazing. Like, well, I can feel some kind of connection with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I am trying to find when I'm searching for new inspo. But I don't know, I can get inspired by many things, like textures or objects around me. Especially, I was so inspired by this kind of, I don't know if if you know this hologram
Mm.
texture, like it's like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that, and I can't resist them. Like, I see something like that, or iridescent, I don't know how to say it, and this like movement, like color movement, is
Yeah.
so attractive.
Yeah, because it has also these like strange colors and then strange shapes when you think about it. And actually, that reminds me of that as well. When you say like your art and the feel
Yeah,
is the similar kind of.
yeah. I try to make that kind of effect on my own work. So I don't know. I'm not that conscious of the things that inspires me,
Mm-hmm.
but everything can be inspiring.
Yeah, and when you mentioned books, do you have some books which you would like to recommend, like must read or something you give as a present?
I love to give books, like art books. I must say I love art books. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to see images printed on the pages rather than a book full of text. So I can recommend some books from. There is a book I absolutely love, from Mark Ryden,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a pink book called Pixnet. I don't know how to say Pixnet, probably.
Yeah, we can put
Let
it
me.
in the show notes afterwards, so you can send me the link and I can put it for listeners, so they can directly check it out with the link.
Okay, so that was a really nice book, and there's there is like a wonderful book that I bought a long time ago called High Fructose Collected Edition.
Mm.
It's a really, really nice book. I love it. So I totally recommend that kind of books because they're full of things. Like you have posters, you have a mask, you have different textures of paper. That's an entire experience. Like that's what I was talking about. Teleport you and make you feel part of a different world. Like you're opening that book, which is a black book with a little pink ribbon,
Yeah.
so that you open it and you can find some stickers, beautiful stickers. The smell is wonderful. The pages are incredible, like so good. So I love that kind of books. And there's another book that I really like, which is called Pareidolia from James Jean. It's a really, really cool book that shows James Jean most popular works, and it's so amazing. It smells wonderful, and you can see like a mix of his styles. Like you can find like an hyper realistic painting from James Jean to what he did for the fashion industry. So it's that the kind of books that I am always looking for, and I can recommend for artists. Like you can touch the real thing. Like it's different to see it on screen.
Yeah.
So if you can buy some books for yourself to get inspiration, it's a good way.
For sure, yeah, because you have this like full package where you can kind of combine all your senses. So yeah, that's really interesting idea. And so when you're creating your artworks or basically doing all the creative projects, how do you design your day, or do you plan the whole week?
Well, my days aren't that interested. I mean, I work at the editorial. I wake up at 7:30, and then I go to work. And I spend most of my time like doing some stuff for the editorial, like drawing some characters, storyboards, or stuff like that. Depending on the project, probably I have to work on a fairy tale, and my day is full. But besides that, I'm always trying to check my social networks, like especially my Instagram and Facebook account. I try to reply everything, every comment. I'm liking things. Like I'm trying to be constantly in contact with my fan base.
Yeah.
So it's important to me, like do this every day. Also, I am looking for some inspiration on Pinterest and Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm always like, okay, I like this. I like this.
Yeah.
And creating boards, it's important to me. I used to draw like some rough sketches when I have some ideas on my mind. Like sometimes I'm so into the digital stuff, like the pen, tablet, and the computer, that I don't know, there's an inner voice telling me, stop, take a pen, take a piece of paper, and do something, like disconnect.
Yeah.
Do it. And I start drawing some sketches, and most of the artwork that I share online started being a very simple sketch. Like if I could show you, you couldn't even recognize that was going to be like that.
Yeah.
So there are some sketches that I do, and I love to read my horoscope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really, really like to read about astrology, and that kind of things are so attractive to me. So I also try to put that kind of energy in my work.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking, what kind of zodiac sign could be this character, or that energy that for example, the artwork called Hello New World. She has this like ring around her head, and that was inspired by a planet by Saturn, I think. So this is the kind of things that I want to also teleport to transmit to my work.
Oh, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
so that's my 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 day, how I try to design my day.
Yeah. So you create all of your drawings like in the evening or during the weekends, because then normally during the day you have a full-time job working on a bit something else, and then on your personal stuff you kind of combine it.
Yeah, it's so complex. I mean, I think that I work as an illustrator to live as an illustrator.
Yes.
I work as an illustrator in that editorial to to pay my bills, but my real dream is to be an independent artist, like do my own stuff, be my own boss. So that is what I'm trying to do, and that is like my next goal, to be an independent artist. Like, not, I don't know if I freelance artist, because I've been there, and I want to combine those worlds, but now I'm fine with that. I mean, I like to work like from Monday to Friday, and weekends are for just relax and hang out, sleep well. You know, it's something, something good, or cook. I like to cook, so I spend I spend more time from Monday to Friday. So I do the hardest
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
days. 5 days are hard sometimes. Yeah.
And so when you work in the studio or in the office, that's the office work. And for your personal stuff, do you create it at home? Do you work on a tablet, or do you have another studio for your personal work?
I work everything in the same studio at work,
Yeah.
because sometimes I'm like free, like I finished many of the things I have to do, so I have time to work on my own stuff. But I also have a personal computer and a personal pen tablet, so sometimes I draw here in my house. So that depends. That
Yeah.
depends. But most of the time I can do both. Like, I don't know how, but I can do both. And it's working.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
super
So
cool. And if someone wants to do what you do now, what would you recommend them to start with? Maybe some tools or mediums, or kind of compare what you started with and what you work with now?
well, first of everything, I think for me it's very important to know, or try to find who you are. Just, I think that's the start point, because it takes time. It takes a lot of time, probably, to find what you want to communicate, or what you really want to do, and what do you, I don't know, what makes you feel comfortable, like the kind of media and stuff, but who you are and what you want to communicate through your art. It took me probably 23 years to finally notice that I was doing art just to be popular, to get followers, or to try to be cool, or to be part of this kawaii anime
Yeah.
thing. And then everything was like, what are you doing? Like, do you really want to do that for the rest of your life? Do you really want to be a mangaka and do comics and go to Anime Expo and Comic Con, and that's the kind of thing that you want to do? Like, you really, really desire that? Like, do you really wish to be that kind of artist? And that was so shocking.
Yeah.
So when I decided to turn my eyes to myself and find who I am, everything was more clear.
Yeah, for sure.
And everything has its own natural flow. So that's what I recommend. I also recommend to practice a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you use a tablet, if you don't use a tablet, if you have just a pen, it's not necessary to invest on so expensive materials at the beginning. Practice, like try whatever you have on hand. So if you have just a pen, use the pen. If you have oils, use those oils. But the more you experiment, the more media you experiment, the more you will know what makes you feel more comfortable with, and then you can decide in the future what's going to be like your way. Or if you love everything, do everything.
Yeah.
Experiment at the beginning, experiment, and then you can be deciding and buy new things and invest in better materials step by step. I remember my first pen tablet was a brand called Genius, and it was so bad. And it was so bad. But once I learned how to use it, everything was so great. Like I created really nice drawings with that. So that's what I also recommend. Be patient with your own process. So patient, so patient. Like some people think, oh, but I want to be like you, or want to be like that artist, and he has a lot of talent. He practiced, or she practiced a lot.
Yeah.
To be where they are. So be patient with your own process. Be conscious that it's gonna take time, but and also be conscious of your own evolution. Like I always see my past, and I always look at the old stuff that I did, and I see the evolution. I can see how everything makes sense now.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend.
Yeah, because that's really important to compare with your own work, in the past and now in the future, not future, present, because because then you see your progress, and then it can make you happy, because if you compare yourself with other people, then it can be stressful for some. So yeah, and so now you use Photoshop, I guess, and tablet like Wacom, or
I have an Intuos Pro, and I use just Photoshop. Sometimes I like to use Adobe Lightroom, which is a photo editing program, but just Photoshop is fine for me.
Yeah.
Like I use all the time. Like it's my loyal friend.
Yes, yeah. It seems like a lot of artists are using this program because it's kind of like a standard in the industry. So it's so it's easier.
In the past I tried like probably more than 5 programs I knew how to use. Krizpii, which is a really cool program for Windows, because Mac system doesn't allow it. But it's a really nice program, so easygoing. And there is another one called Clip Studio, which looks like Photoshop. It's a really nice tool too. And there's another one called Painter that I don't really like too much. It's a bit complicated, but it's a good tool as well. There was another one called Illustrator. I use Illustrator sometimes, but I'm not a big fan of it. Like I really enjoy the brush strokes, the real digital painting.
Yeah, the flow.
The flow, the smoothness, And that's what I enjoy.
Cool. And what would be the thing you kind of wish you knew before you started?
I think I'm going to go back to the question when you said what will I recommend, and that is what I want I would like to know about me is who I was. A time ago I didn't know who I was. I was playing to be everybody else instead of myself. Like I was an anime artist, I was like a cartoonish. I was everything but not myself. I tried to be like that kind of artist the other one be a mix of everybody, and I was ignoring myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wish I could have known who I was, who I am,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
I probably, I don't know, the history could be different, but now I'm fine that everything happens for a reason. So that was the time, and I'm working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
And going back maybe to projects, do you have some new exciting project coming up or something you would like to share?
Well, yeah, I stopped like sharing artwork on media because I'm working on new stuff. And it's something curious because, well, I told you that I liked Marina and the
Mm-hmm.
Diamonds. What I liked about her and what I liked about that kind of artist is the way that they 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 are working on their own careers. Like
Mm-hmm.
they truly believe in themselves. And I've seen and I know that artist through her 3 albums.
Yeah.
So that's what I am like trying to do inside of me. Inside of me, I see myself like a little pop star
Yeah.
working on a new album. So I dropped my first album full of like 12 pieces of art,
Mm-hmm.
like, and every single artwork I try to promote the most, like a single, like
Mm-hmm.
I go everywhere with it, and
Yeah.
like I shared it everywhere. And now I stopped, so I'm getting inspo. I'm trying to create new stuff, but besides that, I'm working on other parallel projects. I'm working with a Chilean fashion designer
Mm-hmm.
for his upcoming collection.
Mm-hmm.
So, some patterns and stuff, some colorful things that are pretty interesting. And I'm also so excited for a very special online group exhibition
Oh,
that
cool.
I was invited to be part.
Yay!
Will be full of amazing artists from around the world. So when I got the invitation, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" That oh god. So yeah, it's going to happen very soon. So I don't want to say more about that,
Mm-hmm.
but when it happens,
So it will be
it will.
sometime after summer, or like when can we expect to see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Summer is a good. Summer is
Timeline.
a good to reappear.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm working on new little project, new little artworks. Like I'm not trying to be so hard on myself to do new stuff, do new like everything is going slowly, but once it's ready, it's going to be so good. Like
So cool. Happy for
yeah,
you. Yay.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now when you we talked about also the full-time job and your personal project. How do you combine your income streams? So you have the main job, but do you also have income from maybe selling the art prints or other areas?
Yes, I got some areas from selling prints. Also, I take some commissions online,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I think I do. Like I work on little projects
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that I choose depending on my time and depending on their flexibility. Because I first I start telling them that my possible clients that I'm full of work.
Yeah.
So if they can be patient, I can work with them. Like I know my time, so I talk with them and I say, well, it could take me like 2 months or a month. So if they can't understand that, I can work with them. But that's how I combine it. Like I take some commissions. I work on some little parallel projects like the one I mentioned you, the fashion
Yeah.
the fashion thing.
So how
You know,
do you find the new paid projects? Through social media or through friends?
and there is a really important tool for me that I didn't know that was so powerful, and it was Behance.
Okay.
Like most of my friends told me, well, Behance is cool, like you can share your work and stuff. But when I decided to put everything I had on Behance and my process and everything, like I woke up one day and my email was full of people liking my stuff and telling me, "Oh, I love it." My inbox was full of people that wanted to work with me or had a project.
Yeah.
So that was really, really huge for me because I was like step by step, like
Yeah.
subtly doing this thing, and everything exploded.
Yeah.
And that page made a connection with my other social networks like Facebook and Instagram. So everything was in that kind of triangle.
Yeah.
And I found clients on Behance and from Instagram as well. There's really nice people on Instagram, like people who has their own projects, like you, for example, who find me on
Yeah.
Instagram and they tell me, I have this project, what do you think about it? Or blah, 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 blah. So that's how I make that kind of
Oh,
contact.
okay, cool. And when you have more projects like this, how do you decide to say no and yes to projects? Because sometimes we cannot do everything at the same time.
Well, it's hard for me to say no to somebody who wants to work with me, but this depends on many, many things. Like, for example, the kind of project that they have, if they are looking at my personal artwork, or they're looking at me just as an artist. Like, you can draw, so I need a rabbit, and you can draw me like a little red, like, or I like your own own thing, your own thing, sorry, and I would like to work with you because I like your style, the way you use the colors or your concepts behind your art. So that's important to me. Like if they write me, tell me, I love the way you use the color. I want a portrait of myself, like the ones that you're sharing online. Of course, I'm going to consider that. I also mentioned to you that it's important for me that the client knows that I'm busy most of the day. So it's important to tell them that I have not too much time, or if they want to work with me, it's going to be a long-term work. Like they have probably to be part of a 2-month period process.
Yes, yeah.
Instead of a week probably, that if I have nothing to do. But I'm feeling very lucky because most of my clients really understands that, like, okay, there's no problem, I can wait 2 months, like let's keep talking, and if you can share me some of the progress. So that's how I work. Also, and depending on how comfortable I will be in doing the things that the clients are asking for.
Yeah.
Like if sometimes, I don't know, I remember something when I used to draw anime. Most of the people wants you to draw erotic anime stuff,
Okay.
and there's a lot of money there that like people really pays for that. So it's important for you to think what makes you feel happy to work with, or what's making you comfortable. So if you don't like that kind of things, don't do it.
Yeah. That's
So
for sure, for sure.
that's how I decide
Yeah.
some of I do parallel
And
my parallel projects.
yeah, and can you share like worst career moment and what you kind of learned from it as well?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Like, I don't know, when I was like probably 18. I don't know. I don't remember. But I used to work a lot on commissions from DeviantArt.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to do like a list of people per month. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have to do this, and this. And there was a client who always wants always want me to draw like very complex things, like very complex scenes, like full of characters and stuff.
Mm.
So I used to work with him, and he was like cool. And then he told me, I have a big project for you, but I really need you to stop working on others, like other stuff. Like, if you can cancel or all your commissions to just focus on my project, it could be perfect. So we talked, and the project sounded really good. Like, it was like a comic or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, that sounds good. And I don't know, I was so naive, and I told everybody, well, I'm sorry, but I won't work with on your commission. I'm sorry, I can take it. I cannot take it. So I like decided to focus on his project, and I told him, okay, I'm 100% free to work on your project. And he told me, okay, just we'll talk about it tomorrow. He just disappeared.
Yeah. Oh, great.
So I canceled like many projects, and some people just ignored me when I came back to tell them, oh, can we work again or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was a bit painful, but I was so naive. I didn't really knew that the decision could be like so complicated.
So what would you
Yeah.
recommend now for people that they would ask for maybe a contract or at least like confirming email or some kind of yeah connection or confirmation, or how would you do it now?
It's important to first have an ace up on your sleeve, always. Like, don't be like me and forget about all the projects just because somebody tells you that they have something huge. Like, think about it. If you can search about the people that send you the email, like if it's a serious guy or girl who's contacting you, if there's a website beside the email or stuff like that. And also, as I said, don't just focus on a single project. You have to consider that everything can changes in the last minute. So
Yeah.
it's important to have many different options. And if you have a big one that works with you, that can pays you in advance, so for example, that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I most of the time ask for payment in advice
Yeah.
because I don't want to take that kind of risk. So if the client, of course, understand that part, we can go ahead.
Yeah.
But if they don't, well, I can say, well, if what do you think about if we do like 50-50?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that makes
this is
sense.
how, yeah, this is how I work.
Yeah, so either
This is how
ask the full amount in advance because they already know what you can do and how you deliver stuff, or you can agree with them like 50-50. So I think
yeah.
that's a really good advice for a young artist, so they don't work on something and they don't get paid even if they create the project.
Yeah. And most of the people likes to pay when the work's finished, like once the work's finished, okay, let me think about the payment.
Yeah.
And I don't really like that
Yeah.
that kind of
But you can,
way.
yeah, you can maybe share just like a small version of it, not full resolution, or just a sketch or some kind of way to show what you did, but they don't have the final product yet if they don't pay you.
Yeah, that could be a way, but most of the clients wants the final version and then they pay you.
Yeah.
Like, I want the product and then I'll pay you for it.
Yes.
So it's important to talk about those things before you start
Yeah,
working.
for sure. For sure.
So when you feel like comfortable with that and you think that it's going to work, they will give you the time, they can pay you in advance, and everything sounds good for you, you can take it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And some of my last questions would be about the future. You talked about it a bit, like you would like to work more with the fine art as well. And so if you imagine yourself in 5 to 10 years, what would you be doing?
I don't know. I really don't know. My life, as I told you, was a bit of a roller coaster. So I don't know. I would love to move to another city, probably. I would love to visit probably Europe or
Yeah, you are
I don't
welcome.
know.
Come to Switzerland for sure.
I would love to visit those countries and to be more in contact with the art scene from there. And I love to be like living somewhere else. I like now I'm feeling that my house is the entire world. Like I want to share my work everywhere. So if I can go somewhere else to share it, but not just through the screen. Like I want to print things and I want to paint real things and I want like a real art exhibit. Like I want to live that experience and not just an art exhibit. As I told you, I would like to keep building this fantastic world that sensitive world. So I don't know. If probably 10 years, I will be creating something probably a little bit closer to what Walt Disney had done. You know, I want to do something like that. I would love to do something like that. Yeah, to what I want to do with my work also is to generate some kind of pleasure because well many of the things that surround us aren't that. I don't know, you can you turn on the TV and you can find like a lot of violence and like many negative stuff. So my art and the way I work is something that is based on pleasure, on enjoy the process, even if it's going to be hard to finish an art piece, or even if sometimes you feel blocked or whatever. It's based on have a good time and have a good experience. I want to share this experience, like this peaceful, beautiful characters, like enjoy and feel that those colors and the love that I'm putting on every single piece.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do in 10 years.
That's super cool. And if you think about like this influence or like sharing the joy of creation, what would you like to be remembered for in like 100 years?
I would like to I don't know, there are a lot of things that I would like to be remembered.
Yeah.
But I want to, of course, to be known as an entire person, not just my work as an artist, but my work as a person, like how I feel and how I want to see the world, and the message I want to communicate to the world. So I also I would love to make or to be like a bridge between the digital and the traditional media, because sometimes some people are, okay, I'm team traditional and I'm team digital.
Yeah.
And I want to show that them, and I know that there are a lot of artists doing it, but I would love to keep building this bridge to connect these worlds, because the future is still digital, and all those traditional tools are wonderful. So we can create an entire thing with the best of each world. So I would love to be part of that, and or at least do something about it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's amazing. I would like to see like more in the future, where you would come and how it will be. And thank you so much for being here and to be here to inspire other people, and for everyone joining us. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. Like, when you sent me the email, I thought, well, this is so good. I always wanted to talk about it and to share a few things I know about art or about how to work.
Yeah.
And I want to be in contact with the fan base, and especially the fans that speak in English. Like, most of my fans are Spanish or from Latin America, and I want to say thank you for inviting me, and your project is so good.
Ah, so cool. So happy to hear. Thank you again for joining. It's super cool. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know in comments. Also, please subscribe to my channel for more videos, because I post new interview every single workday. You can also find the resources mentioned in this episode at artsideoflife.com. Just type a guest name in the search bar. There is also a little freebie waiting for you, so go check it out. If you want to listen to the interviews on the go, make sure to check out the podcast episodes at artsideoflife.com/podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and don't forget to inspire each other. I will see you guys in the next episode.